New Zealand will be fighting for India in their 5th final, their 3rd overall, gunning for their 3rd title. New Zealand for their 2nd.
3rd consecutive ICC white ball final for India. Came up short against Australia in 2023, became the T20 world champions in 2024, and today, at the cusp of this, I am already getting that champions valley feeling.
Talking about champions, Rowe and co are going to be hard to stop. They have a massive opportunity here to cement their legacy by winning this 4th ICC championship title together.
India have built an irrepressible fortress over here. Guru winning everything. It's a winning spree, but watch out. When opportunity knocks at your door, somebody's got to get up and open the door for it. Even if your enemy is like a mouse, watch him like a lion. Bro, they've toppled you twice in an ICC final. So, no complacency. In times of prosperity, it pays to remember that it's the fattest pig that goes to the butcher. No complacency.
So, who will be the ultimate champion? At the Champions Trophy, where New Zealand came out victorious, today it could very much be a different story. Robin Uthappa, winner in the 2007 T20 World Cup with us, and Sanjay Banga, who's been India's batting coach when it comes to being a part of those ICC events, those final events. These two gentlemen who will be telling us all about the experience, the plethora of emotions and the ambitions that it takes to be world beaters. But as I told you, these two might have been called the two most deserving sides because of their success in the recent past. Have a look at India just in terms of how much final experience they have in terms of reaching the history that you're chasing.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a humdinger of a game. I actually think the BGT and the New Zealand series at home, the Test series, has
ICC final. As this generation of players, sometimes it can be hard to forget that those emotions do come pouring in, because New Zealand more often than not have been a dangerous side for India when it comes to ICC events.
Yeah, they've been very dangerous, and for that you require experience. To overcome such obstacles, what you require in a final are nerves of steel.
Breeds champions, and also knowing your opponent in and out. In fact, so much so, ahead of this Champions Trophy campaign, when we sat down with Indian players and we asked them, come on, go out there, think about who you could be playing in the final because your own ambitions are reaching this stage. Here is what they had to say. Comes to the melon blue, but the two icons, the two pillars when it comes to India here, who got joined together in 2013 to lift this very Champions Trophy, who went on a decade later to become absolute masters of their craft, who joined together to lift that trophy in 2024. Now again step onto this field, playing in what would be their 9th ICC final, gunning for them personally what would be their 4th. Would make ROCO the most successful Indians when it comes to ICC trophies. The two most consistent sides when it comes to reaching ICC knockouts meet now. Also got the fire of Iyer to supplement him, but significantly the middle overs, especially here in Dubai, has been significant in terms of the battle, of the player-on-player battle. And there is where we've seen Virat Kohli against a nemesis in leg spin. What could the game plan be today? Spin that he faced, he's got 35 runs against them. What particularly did you work on with Virat in his aspect when it comes to facing spin?
Well, I mean, what I really remember about his dismissals in the England series, the series which India played before coming to Champions Trophy, is that he was literally planting his foot on the front foot and trying to maneuver the ball despite not being to the pitch of the ball. But our good
Santner, which we know has been an enjoyable one, and a little bit of Rachin Ravindra as well. We'll talk about that more, but let's have a look at our champions of style. Identify those middle overs, we understand it, those key battles, those battle-bitten battles that will ultimately make you one champion for Team India. Having just relived that glory a few months ago in the T20 format, they want to overcome it in the one-day format to be able to get their hands on trophy. And for that, against a team that's been his nemesis, against a team that's always been well prepared, it will take one final push from the men in blue.
It feels like yesterday that we landed here at the UAE. In our quest to claim the Champions Trophy.
It's quite like New Zealand does when it comes to these sort of competitions, Robin Uthappa and Sunil Gavaskar, and it's also the experience that they have. Who scored the most runs for New Zealand since the 2023 World Cup? Rachin Ravindra. He's got 500s already in ICC knockouts. That's more than the iconic Kane Williamson. What about this youngster, Sunny G, makes him so extraordinarily special with big match temperament?
Yes, I think that's the right word, big match temperament. He's got the big match temperament. He knows how to...
Stage. So what could be our key battle when it comes to Rachin Ravindra? 47, he's got over 700 runs in these sort of competitions. Scored runs against India on this very ground. That's a huge wicket for India's perspective and a huge weapon for New Zealand.
Yes, I think look, he'll bowler out and wait for the other bowler to come. We can make up for that other bowler. We don't give a wicket to this main bowler. All these things is what a senior player like Williamson will be conveying, not only to Rachin Ravindra, but whoever is batting with him. So it's not just the batting ability, it's the experience and conveying that experience, transferring it to the younger players, which is what makes the Kohlis, the Rohit Sharmas, the Kane Williamsons just invaluable players.
It's a batting lineup that bats very deep, Robbie, when it comes to New Zealand, and they're proficient against spin as well as pace. So India, or Rohit Sharma's utility of his all-rounders of Akshar Patel and Hardik Pandya, and where he uses them, their overs becomes key in today.
Absolutely. I think Hardik will always be used at the top. The fact that Hardik and Shami will open with a new ball. But I think in the middle overs, they'll bowl a couple of overs there in the middle overs as well. But how he used
what was his second ODI, and therein he becomes, in today's final, our player to watch out for.
All those 10 overs, giving away maybe about 40 runs. Under 50, he'll have done a very good job. It's in the middle overs. If you can keep a check on the New Zealand scoring, if there's a part.
Finals for him across formats. Coming into this, having lost 14 consecutive tosses, as Robin Uthappa told us yesterday in our coverage, he's fine with India losing the toss because India have batted first, India have chased and still brought themselves on an unbeaten run to this final. Who will win this toss? Now with Ravi Shastri. With Sunil Gavaskar and Robin Uthappa, 15 tosses that India have lost. What is the probability of that, Robbie?
1 in 32,007.
New ball in the middle overs also, he comes and bowls well. And towards the end also he takes wickets. He took a fifer against India last Sunday. So he would have been pretty high on confidence as well. So clearly I think Henry not being available is a good thing for India. Not just for Rohit Sharma, but for the Indians.
Negotiated. And I really think if he can find his rhythm today on this wicket, he can be as dangerous as Varun Chakravarti. And the spinners in that 10 to 40 overs is going to be key for India. That, how well that is controlled is going to help us mitigate the run flow as much as possible. You want to keep it under 250 on this track.
Yeah, I just want to add, what you said is absolutely right. At the toss, when after the toss, when Ravi was saying who won the toss, and New Zealand have decided to bat first. I would have rather, because he's an Indian, New Zealand decided to bat first.
Well, how about this, Sunny-ji? New Zealand deciding to bat first because they played the sweep. Have a look at that lineup. Robbie brought out the spinners and how significant they could be. You're used to facing who could be the three players that we've identified as essentially the MVPs or the players to watch. So the way he rotates strike, the way he takes on pace, the way he takes on spin. And he is one wicket that India have to target incredibly early as well, or he will let that partnership build.
Yeah, he's someone who likes to build partnerships, but I think what he's doing exceptionally well right now is just playing to the merit of the ball. And I think that's one of his biggest reasons. Build a big score. It's going to be, if he's going to score big in this game, he's going to have to spend at least 40 overs on that track.
500s already in his nascent ICC career. That's Rachin Ravindra, our Damdar player. In a way, Rachin Ravindra has kind of already taken on the mantle, the responsibility from greater players like Kane Williamson to follow. His experience of playing against Indian players, how will that help him on these conditions? They're different from what you've played in Pakistan as well. They played only one match here.
Well, I only heard part of the question thanks to this, DJ, but what I think I get the gist of what you're trying to say, that if there is a bit of familiarity with New Zealand, so yes, I think that can come a little bit handy, but don't forget, this is the final. The pressure of a final is completely different. It's a completely different pressure. And so irrespective of the fact that you played the guys before in the nets for your franchise or against each other in the IPL, When it comes to the final, it's a whole different ball game.
But a player from New Zealand who's understood that well, just in terms of knowing Indian players well, that's Daryl Mitchell. Just the way that he plays Indian spinners, Robbie. You look at his foot. Robbie brought up earlier just how vital someone like a Kuldeep Yadav could be in this encounter. More so because you have to put pressure. Dot ball percentages, make sure that they don't score runs against you. Kuldeep Yadav's utility, because India spinners on a whole can actually bowl very deep into this innings.
Yes, I think that's a big also is going to be amazing.
Those quiet overs become significant when you look at someone like Sir Ravindra Jadeja as well. You speak of Akshar Patel, Hardik Pandya, all the all-rounders. But Jadeja, just like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma was there in 2013, was there in 2024. Tremendously experienced when it comes to big match situations. It's his 8th ICC final.
Well, I think he's going to be very spinners bowling well, very, very key. I'm actually going to go on a limb and say that the team that plays the lesser number of dot balls will win this game. The team that bowls the more number of dot balls will win this game.
It's a very, very crucial point. Fielding could be a game changer as well. Sunny-ji, I know what your heart is going to say, understandably. New Zealand batting first. What's the comfortable total for India?
101.
How many overs?
No, I think anything under 260 is what India will prefer. It's a good pitch. They've got good batters. They know that they can score a few runs, but I think 260 to 270 is what India should look to restrict New Zealand.
Quick predictions, Colin.
I think anything above 260 is going to be super dangerous for India. You want to keep it on the safer side under 250, guys.
Okay, there you go. We're set for a grand finale, aren't we? As soon as this is over, the big final we've been waiting for, we head straight into IPL season where you'll see our heroes switch up once again in the quest for glory, as will RCB Virat Kohli, and the significance of number 18. Have a look at that. New Zealand walking out here in this Champions Trophy final. It's all on the line. India threw a lot of spin at them. They ensured that there was a lot of dot balls that was soaked up as well.
Look, errors are like straws upon the surface, never flow. He who searches for pearls must dive deep below. New Zealand failed to seize the moment and they lost the occasion. They could have scored another 20 or 30 odd runs. First 10 overs yield 70. Last 10, another 80. So 20 overs gave them 150. And the middle muddle, the 30 overs in the middle give them 100 odd. That's where they lost the plot, and that's where the Indians came in with a vice-like clip. And young Warren, that happens. I think it's within India's grasp, and India are 60-40 favorites, chasing this total. Had the Kiwis, their imagination was like a Kiwi bird. They could actually run, though not fly. They could have scored 270.
Siddhipaji, I think we'll have to get your mic changed as we do that. Let's just have a chat about Michael Bracewell. We saw Daryl Mitchell's, which was slowest half century, and then he saw 50 of just 39 deliveries from Michael Bracewell, which has pushed you towards 250, which is, as Siddhipaji pointed out, Robbie, ensured that you got more than 70 in that final tell. Psychologically, how much?
Has actually propped them up to 252. Which I can assure you is a very fighting total on this track. I think Siddhipaji's been a little kind. I think he's given India 60-40. I would give India 55-45 because they're gonna have to earn this win. Because you can bet your bottom dollar that the Kiwis will field exceptionally well and they will look to bowl as many dot balls as possible. Kiwis have played 155 dot balls. They'll try and bowl at least 165.
It's a final, Sharipa, big match temperament, and Daryl Mitchell has that. It may show you that it's his slowest half century, but he held that innings together. He ensured that there were partnerships so that the likes of Bracewell could come and translate that pressure into runs later.
Yes, but he crawled at a snail's pace. I mean, those runs came very slowly. It was like going to the zoo and watching the turtles race by. Somewhere down the line, he could have... God will forgive you for your sins, but your nervous system won't. Somewhere down the line, you know, those mental scars will remain. And I feel India, the kind of form that they are in, although this is a pitch where 266 has not been chased in the last 12-15 years, but if you look at India have done that with consummate ease. They chased it against Pakistan. New Zealand, they did the opposite. So I personally feel India at the moment, with Generation Next, if the new ball can be counted and Rohit gives them up 20, 30 odd runs at the start, that is a huge impetus. The first blow is half the battle. To me, if the new ball is counted, India will sail through because almost everybody is in form. They also had 500s under their belt, but these are different conditions, you know. It's difficult to dance on a crooked floor. This is a crooked floor. You'll actually have to adapt. It's a sluggish surface. Industry is the mother of success. Luck, a distant relative. You'll have to beaver away. It's the good old test match kind of cricket, you know. That is most important.
You've kept them at a bit of a par total. A lot of that is because of the spinners being utilized. It's the most wickets by spin unit in a Champions Trophy campaign. You may not have got inside scoop right, but you got Kuldeep right, Robbie. You said watch out for Kuldeep, and that is what he produced. Two very, very crucial breakthroughs.
And that's the thing about Kuldeep Yadav. Kuldeep Yadav comes up trumps when nobody expects him to come up trumps. He's owns 2 wickets, just clinical from him. Hit the right areas, ask the right questions, put the right doubts and the seeds of doubts in the minds of the batters, which also not only brought him wickets, but put pressure on the batters when they're playing against a Varun Chakravarti, when they're playing against a Ravindra Jadeja, who bowled 10 overs for 30 runs. It's stuff like this that helped us contain those middle overs. But somehow, they found themselves to a good position right now. The batters have a task at hand, which we need to complete.
This has been a story of for Varun Chakravarti, almost a story of comebacks. He took the 5-4 against New Zealand in the league stage. Varun Chakravarti with the first breakthrough. It's becoming the captain's go-to man, Sharifa.
And because he's tossing the ball up, more revolutions on the ball, and because it goes above the eye level, they were just bamboozled. They didn't know which way it was going, especially Rachin Ravindra. That was such a big wicket at that point of time. 200s under his belt. 10 overs, 60 odd runs, 70 odd runs they were batting on. There was smooth sailing. And after Kuldeep got those 2-3 wickets, they were like a rudderless ship. They were like zombies. Didn't know where they were going, what they were doing. So somewhere down the line, I feel the weakness of the opposition makes your strength. Rohit Sharma is a very astute captain. You know, it was not the goal that he was looking at. He was looking at the means. If you take care of the means, the goal takes care of itself. 5 spinners, many criticized him, but it's worked. All is well that ends well. That is the most important thing. Your life cannot go according to plan if you don't have one. He came out with a plan. He executed it beautifully. Good intentions die unless they're executed.
And Sharifa, they know how to construct a chase with the chase master in the ranks here. You're chasing for the trophy. Rohit Sharma, not even first 10 overs, Robbie, but in
secure. Everybody in their seats feel so much more secure. So I would love Rohit Sharma for nothing more to just be there for 25 overs.
Well, he does have the chase master in his ranks, doesn't he, Rohit Sharma? Out of the 14,000 one-day runs, he's got 8,000 of them have come in chases. We go to Sanjay Banga for our chase master, the stylish player. So much for that, Sanjay. So when it comes to constructing a chase and loving the art of constructing a chase, Virat spoke about it the other day, he'll get an opportunity now to do that in a final. He knows there's a lot of spin coming his way. He knows that he has to rotate the strike, soak in that dot ball pressure.
Look, talent does what it can do. It has limitations. But a genius does what he must do. It is what the situation will demand. He will adapt to that situation, change his gears, and the most important thing is, the tighter the situation, the better he plays. Pressure is what you allow it to be. He never creates any Frankenstein monsters. The fear of failure is never there. He's what Virat Kohli is. Character is not made in a crisis. It is exhibited. That's what character is all about. Come at the hour, come at the man. If he gets to the first 15-20, he will win you this match because he's got 100 under his belt. He's got another 80 under his belt. He's in the form of his life. That's what you dread.
A lot will also depend on what the conditions will be like. It's a different wicket to what he chased on the other day as well. But as the players take a break now, we're getting an opportunity to see that as well. There's a lot of dance, there's a lot of music, a lot of entertainment in this stadium. And why not? Because we're going ahead towards the Festival of Holi as well. There's a lot of colour that we can see. So with here in the Dubai International Stadium, a quick look back at what have been the big highlights so far. Business of experiencing that champions volley feeling. We've spoken about the chase master. Also, a big match temperament that you expect to see from someone like Shubman Gill. He would be incredibly hungry. He has a great partnership that he shows with Rohit Sharma. Conditions for them chasing a 240 plus total. Do you expect the wicket to slow down?
For the next hour or so, I still expect I'm going to be here to receive it. So I think this game is a massive opportunity for someone like him to put his hand up and say, I'm going to bat through and win this game single-handedly for India.
We do know there's a lot of spin coming India's way because New Zealand do possess Mitchell Santner amongst one of the best, the left arm angle that will come into Virat Kohli. You can either use Aksar as a floater or you can just put all your faith in Shreyas Iyer, the way that he has played spin in the last couple of years or so.
Listen, it's the quality. I don't think they have the kind of quality that India has with the spin department, the wicket takers. I would rate Santner right up there. But how many like Santner? Because this is a pitch which is conducive and congenial for the spinners. And if India does not lose wickets, there's a big if. If ifs and ands were pots and pans, there would have been no tinkers. If they don't lose wickets in the first 10 overs and get to around 50, 60, they'll sail through with consummate ease. It's early wickets that's going to really put pressure on the Indians, because if they can make the new ball count both ways. India's chased 250, they've chased almost 265. So I personally feel the highest score chased over here is 287 in the last 15 years. 300 has never come up. It's not going to be easy, but industry is the mother of your success. You've got to beaver away. Between 10 and 40, you've got to take those singles, and Virat Kohli and KL Rahul are ideally suited. Almost everybody is in form. Value your wicket, and the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, is you must have a sense of proportion to see things in the right perspective. Aim for 230, you might get to 270, but if you aim for 300 and start slam bang, you're getting nowhere. Common sense is the knack of seeing things as they are and doing things as they ought to be done. It's a rare sense. The rest is hydrogen and stupidity.
Very briefly, Robbie, in the past when New Zealand have prevailed over India, it's taking wickets in those power plays. Matt Henry played a big role. He's not here in this final. Does that at all change things?
I don't think in a big game it makes too much of a difference. There are guys who will want to put their hand up and say, I'm going to do it for my team. And I think the Kiwis will come out trying their best and trying their hardest to get wickets in that first 10. But if India can thwart that and get off to a good start and get the chase master in there, in the middle overs, I think we should be, like he said, get the score in consummate ease.
We want to see a keenly contested trophy with Team India in 2007. This is a team, Robbie, as Virat Kohli said it. You've had moments from every single player in that 11 that is delivered, and he said it's a cumulative effort that has ended us and got us across the line in what was a tightly contested final. It was one for the true cricket fans. It was a battle of attrition.
Absolutely, battle of attrition, and Virat was right. Every single person at every point in this tournament was able to put their hand up for the team. And yet again, I know this is going to fly under the radar, but KL Rahul's performance there in the end, mind-boggling. To be able to absorb the kind of pressure that he absorbed, to be able to hold one end up and make sure he sees the team through, whilst people are falling around him, amazing. A true quality innings of a leader within the group, against someone who stood up for the team when the team needs it. He's always done well. So true victories, a true cumulative effort from this unit.
Celebrations in Mumbai, celebrations all over India, celebrations here in Dubai. Because think about it, 23 matches that India have played in the last 3 ICC events, they've won 22. The only loss was that hurt of that final. The incredible consistency that this team has maintained, Robbie, when it comes to limited overs.
Yep, white ball cricket has been amazing over the last 24 months. I think have been truly phenomenal. There's a set pattern. Things have worked for the Indian team. They've figured out their roles there, and they've stayed true to their roles, and they've stayed true to the people who perform those roles. And I think it's a consistency of providing that kind of security to the group and a clear definition of roles that brings you success. See, it's not rocket science to be successful in sport, but it's about having the patience and the
Dreams yet again, and the captain leading from the front in what was a crunch situation. Rohit Sharma has led now Team India to 4 different ICC finals. Now he's one of 2 of them as a player of the match.
Indian cricket.
It does, and you look back at those monos, those collective moments, the celebrations. We got a little bit of Gangnam style from Ravindra Jadeja, towards playful from Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. It was their mission together to complete that mission that started in the T20 World. Will be this team that will look to once again dominate.
Absolutely. I think it sets the precedent for all the youngsters coming through the ranks. You always want your previous team to be able to inspire the next gen. Rahul played in the end, to be able to hold his nerve, especially in a final of a tournament, at a position that he's made his own, not naturally available to him as a batter, but he's batted there and made his own. Today, I think he's shown what a great finisher he actually is, even under pressure.
It's something that Hardik said in his interview as well, that KL is so incredibly talented, and when it comes to after Shreyas Iyer, but then up with Rohit Sharma, that was the start of this nascent career. He's gone on to a career that has seen him lead his team now in 4 different ICC finals. It has seen Rohit Sharma the versatility with the next generation as well. And speaking of the next generation, when it comes to both nations, it's certainly in fine hands. He may not have the trophy, but he certainly has the accolades. Rachin Ravindra, the player of the tournament. A big match temperament, something that he can look forward to for the next couple of years as far as New Zealand is concerned. But it's India who are victorious today. Let's hear now from that victorious team the presentation of the ambition. A lot of Indian fans who are still here in the stadium in the Dubai Sports City. It is those memories from losing the final in that 2023 World Cup to now getting a little bit of redemption and glory. But let me tell you, it's not just this generation of Indian players who know how to move a leg. It is this generation of Indian players, the icons, the legends, Sunnyji, who know how to celebrate.
Oh my God!
This is the second time I've seen it. I saw it, India-Pakistan at the MCG.
At the MCG.
And we're seeing it again.
I was just...
Isn't that so heartwarming to see him actually be so childlike? And you know when he says that, I consider myself an elder in this family of Indian cricket and share what I share, my experiences and what I think as advices, as a nudge to help these kids in the right direction. To think about everything that has been said by former greats of Indian cricket, former cricketers from India, who are actually in the broadcasting gig.
In the semi, and then Rohit Sharma playing a electrifying knock in the final to get the Indian team off to a terrific start when they were chasing a tricky total. 250 was all.
Here, in this moment, having your kids, having your parents, I mean, this is what you play for. You understand it. You're a big family person. You understand having them there on the field with you.
Absolutely. I think, especially for the likes of Virat, Shami.
It's just going to be such a big hole. So we kind of keeping our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen. But, time waits for nobody. So we just, hope that it'll be delayed as much as possible.
Well, we won't get into those conversations, yes. Let's talk about Chennai.
And perform day in and day out. 5 wickets on his comeback game, and then every game after that, 2 wickets, very crucial. Adds so much value to the Indian team. And at some point, the mystery will wear off, and then he'll have to look at improving and evolving himself as a cricketer, as a bowler, more and more.
As an opener, the next generation, Shubman Gill. It's a ICC silverware for him. He wasn't part of the T20 World Cup squad. So for him, this was a huge mission, hunger, early part of his career, and he's been part of a winning campaign.
He's been part of the winning campaign, but he will also be very upset, and I hope he's very upset at the way he got out, because there was really no need for him to be looking to play that shot. At that stage, India was cruising. All that they did not want the door to be opened slightly for New Zealand. The door was opened with his dismissal. Then again, next over, Kohli was out. So suddenly 2 wickets and New Zealand were back in the game. So this is where he has to toughen up. He has to really get so strong that he's not giving anybody a chance, or the opposition a chance, to get in and get 100. Get 70, get 100. He got 100 in the first game of the Champions Trophy against Bangladesh. Get another one over here in the final. Why not?
Oh, that's a moment right there. It doesn't matter if you're a world beater, Robbie, in front of your children. It's all.
Any captain, any selection committee is fortunate to have these kind of options, because you can then move your batting order, you can move your bowling options, you can bring somebody on first, you can bring somebody on to bowl from the other end, change ends, you can do all kinds of a little bit of experimentation in case you find a partnership is settling at the in the middle. And same with the batting order. The other day Hardik Pandya came early in the semi-final. Here he came a little bit later. So that is the plus point of this Indian team, the options that the captain and the coach had.
When you come back here from Dubai and you just look back on those moments of celebrations, those moments of waiting essentially to get the hand period of over more than a decade from that 2013 win where India were waiting for ICC silverware. In the last 2.5 years, you've managed to get 2 trophies back in that cabinet. So it's been a pursuit of glory that Virat Kohli has been an integral part of. Speaking now to Jatin Sapru. Win as well. Sunnyji, it was very different from what we've seen here today, because when you won the World Cup, everyone ran onto the field. I have the picture of my father-in-law running, picking up the stump. That stump is still in the house.
The ball is with me, by the way.
The ball is with you?
The ball is with me, because when the ball was deflected off the pads, the first reaction is to stop a leg by, because we weren't defending a big score. And by the time I reached the ball, the umpire had given out, and I could see people coming in, put the ball in my pocket in the fastest 75 meters of my life. So I don't know what souvenirs that over here have been kept, but there must have been plenty of souvenirs. Maybe stumps, and then take autographs of everybody on the stumps. A great memento.
And the celebrations, Robbie, you can add to this, because look at the celebrations across India, understandably, is as expected. It's pure joy, it's pure elation, and this is an iconic moment. Listen, this is Sunil Gavaskar. For those of you who are, what do we say, Gen Z, who might be watching, you don't know what this man means to international cricket, not just Indian cricket. He was a pioneer, the first of many records that was achieved. Now you see him as an extraordinary. We've been doing this for some time, but yeah, exactly.
I started off being a fan of Indian cricket. I was a little kid. My uncle played for India in the 1950s. So there was something. Cricket was in the family. And then after that, I was just a fan of the Indian team. Jaisima, Sardesai, Wadekar, you name it, Farooq Engineer. All these guys I went to watch. And then suddenly I had the great opportunity, with God's grace, to be able to actually play in the same team as them. And then time came for me to finish. But I hope the kid in me
went ahead and lifted that T20 World Cup as well. So for this unit was a little bit of that emotion, that unfinished business, what Virat had mentioned about the hurt of the border Gavaskar. A lot of that has carried forward in terms of momentum and intentions.
Yeah, at this level, you're always going to find something that motivates you to win the next title, right? Because you always want to keep winning. The pursuit of playing sport is just that, to beat the odds on a day-to-day basis, to achieve victory at the back end of it. And the magic of being able to do that within a team, and to bring 20 minds together, 25 minds together to achieve one common goal, is the magic of sport, is what is magical about sport. Because it's not easy to bring people from 25 different people from different parts of the country, from different good teams fine. And I think the more they get a taste of these victories, the more familiar they'll get with how this feels, and then the more familiar they are, the more it'll repeat itself.
And of course, the jubilation is across all over social media, as we expect as well, to see so many of you been coming in, so many former cricketers, as Sharma throwing the stumps in the ground, having a little bit of fun. Sunnyji, it may be a tough question, but you're the best person to answer it. From great Indian captains, from Kapil Dev to Saurav Ganguly as well, to have, of course, a Mahendra Singh Dhoni. You've had Virat, who was supremacy when it came to Test.
Remembered as one of the finest captains that India has had, without a question.
Because he is, and I think because he's just been an incredible leader ever since he's taken the captaincy kind of form, be it in the IPL, and then when it was handed down to him in Indian cricket. You always saw someone who was a very inclusive leader, and this is again strictly from an observational point of view. I haven't played under his leadership, but I've observed it from the outside while playing against him, and even just as a regular observer, you see how he deals with cricketers, the things he says about his mates and how he works with them. I remember when he first came into the side, even before he was a captain, you'd often see him putting his hand around a Kuldeep Yadav or a Yuzi Chahal, and feel like they are stakeholders within that attempt, that endeavor. He does that so beautifully.
It's about role definition and ownership of that. Sanjay Banga, India's former batting coach, who's been, there, Sanjay, you've been part of the dressing rooms as well in these World Cup campaigns. You've been part of a little bit of heartbreak as well. Speaking about Rohit's leadership, where he stands when it comes to Indian captains, but that personality that Robbie just touched upon, you being a batting coach, realizing the player at this stage in his career to be able to evolve and completely change a facet of his game. What has been your biggest takeaway these last couple of years from Rohit Sharma's leadership?
See, for me, I think as Robbie said, that he's got the best out of all the resources that he's had, and he's also taken this team forward in that sense. And for me, I think a couple of calls in this particular tournament were very, very brave calls. Had India not been victorious, the very calls that he took, playing 4 spinners. Now in modern day cricket, when have you seen in a 50-over format 4 spinners play? We knew of in yesteryears wherein 4 spinners used to play for the country in test format, not necessarily or never in the history of 50-over cricket has India played with 4 spinners. And then around and above that, I think the promotion of Akshar Patel at number 5 and how he has contributed at number 5 has also was a very, very deliberate attempt.
Families always followed him for the big moments, for the moments that I've heard, from the moments that have been jubilation. But to be a captain, a leader, Yasai, and come away with a player of the match performance in a big final as well, there's no wonder then, Sanjay, he is our stylish player of the day.
He is certainly. And
stumps on any other day, maybe if your luck is not there, that ball would have hit the middle stump and people would have said what kind of a shot it is. But it is a calculated attempt that he believes in. India needed. And look, the man has batted right till the 50th over and got 264. And that is the reason I keep saying that he has to bat only 25 overs and India will be about 180 at that stage, because he will have scored about 100, at least 120 out of the 180. And which means that the remaining 25 overs, India can score another, 150, 200.
What about that 1-6 that went up 25 meters before it finally found its way outside that boundary line? Sanjay, one of the biggest takeaways as well for India in that batting lineup with the flexibility have is the assurity that a Shreyas Iyer brings. We know his game against spin. We've known that from the last World Cup. But the improvement that he's made against pace, the short ball that used to be a kryptonite as well, one of the biggest takeaways has been Shreyas Iyer with a bat.
He has been, and he has been around for a long, long time, because we just get to relate Shreyas Iyer as some earlier. He used to back towards the leg side and try and only hit it over maybe a point or over covers at certain occasions. But now what he is doing is getting nicely behind the line of the ball. At times, he's also dropping his wrist and he's also defending well. So those are the things that you have to do well as a batsman to be as consistent as Shreyas Iyer has been. So clearly, a big contributor in the middle overs, because he has to act as a bridge between the top order and the lower order.
And as Robbie pointed as well, the confidence, the assurity that he has when he walks up as well. Shreyas Iyer now, winner when it comes to having a Champions Trophy silverware, in conversation with Jatin. As he mentioned, wearing that white jacket, he's very much become, in a way, India's Mr. Dependable in that middle over, with the swagger that he possesses as well. But speaking of being dependable, speaking of taking pressure word, as we go back over this competition and look at the players who've stood up in different moments, Hardik Pandya with the bat and the ball, knowing that
even today when he started off the first few overs, he was really accurate. And it's after that he went for runs. Up until that point, he was hitting the right areas. The first over was almost a maiden against Rachin Ravindra. But through the course of the tournament, effective, got the wickets when they needed it, bowled the tough overs, and always up to bowl the tough overs, always up for the tough moments. And that's why I think he's so successful.
That last bit of firework was just reserved for us. Just going through someone that I know Robbie would love to talk a lot about, but actually I'm going to begin with you, Sunny Ji. Why I say Robbie is because of KL Rahul. He was telling me, I really want this for KL. I want KL to win this. He's been shuffled in and out, up and down, batting orders in all formats for the country, but he's shown steel.
Well, I'm not saying because you're from Bangalore, but you look at the Bangalore players, whether it is a Rahul Dravid or whether it is a Rahul Dravid or whether it is KL Rahul. To be playing for India, and therefore whatever you give me, I will try and do to the best of my ability. Wicket keeping is probably not his natural strength, But look at some of the catches that he's taken.
Yeah.
Look at some of the way he's gone, towards the ball, into the ball. So here is another totally selfless character coming from Bengaluru. And, again, low profile, not a flashy person, modest, just a wonderful, wonderful team man to have.
Sanjay, I'll come to you because it's 2 matches now, semi-finals and finals, that we've spoken to KL or seen visuals of KL still having his pads on, because he's grown into that role of being there towards the end and just finishing those games for India, getting them across the line.
Well, he's been through a lot of ups and downs, and you think of KL, and KL has been around for the last 10 years in international circuit. So he's done everything that has been differently. So he has those skill sets of both a top order batter and a lower order batter. And yes, it is challenging, but when you bat at those different situations for the team, it also teaches you multiple things, because as an opener, you are expected to score a lot of runs hitting the gaps because you lied as well.
And after all of that hard work to now have that ICC trophy besides him as well, it's definitely going to be a huge moment for KL and the entire team India too. Remember, we take a breather now, but in conversation with Jatin Satru, KL Rahul and Hardik Pandya as they become champions of the night.